All right. So, hello everybody out there in internet land. Welcome to today's episode of a live feature rant, episode 43. Teamwork is awesome, which I initially was planning for discussion about the team up stuff, but man, that isn't the big topic this week. Team ups are cool, and they're really excited to be getting all that stuff in the caves. But I think the stuff going in the caves is probably more the big subject. So, kind of took some notes during the show. We'll talk about
Hmm.
the update, but there are a few things here and there to kind of touch on first. So, we have, of course, some awesome folks here, and I definitely want to make sure you all know who they are and give them a follow before we actually get going. So, going clockwise from me. So, Adam, why don't you start? Let people know what you're all about.
What am I all about? I don't know. You do this to me every time. I love this. Who are
You don't
you
have
and
a
why
Write it
are
script
you
down.
yet.
here?
Write it
Why are
down.
you here? Who are you? Why are you on this
I
show?
thought you'd have gotten some practice by now.
I
I
know,
mean, you
huh?
did.
Well,
You,
you
you've
always
got.
throw you always throw to me like, explain yourself. I love that. So I'm a nerd. I'm a gamer. I'm here. I usually do the show with Nero every week, unless I'm in the middle of trying to figure out where to live, which is what I'm doing right now. So don't worry. I may be back for a couple weeks, and then I may disappear for a long time again. So we'll see what happens. But do a YouTube channel, launching a new podcast that'll be available to the public in another week or so. It's an audio only thingy, but I do a couple things, and I do this to keep my feet, finger, toe, whatever in the video game arena. And there you go.
Feet, finger, toe. Yeah, that's just barely
Yeah.
touching there.
So how
Um,
many body parts are you just barely touching it with? Okay.
Oh, hey, wait now.
playing gamer twister there, I guess. So Skylatron then. What about you?
Hi, I'm Skylatron. I am an inappropriate tweeter and occasional streamer. I am also the social media coordinator for the gaming website Tintin Hammer. And I do a podcast, sort of, that I've done 2 whole episodes of on my own channel. There you go. That's my bag.
Very cool. Very cool. And Reverend Kremchek.
Yay! I'm Reverend Kremchek. I'm a Twitch streamer full time. I'm pretty awesome too. I have a lot of cool stuff going on. Follow me and find out.
Yeah, indeed he does.
Do
So,
it.
the contest winner prizes are going in, including the Builders Trophy that they might not have meant to show us yet, but I think they did mean to show us, and we're just phrasing it funny to try to be like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
whoops, because
Mm.
Because it's funny that way.
yeah, it's more
Yeah.
funny to make something seem like an accident. They're like, oh, well, you got to see something before you were supposed to. It makes people think, it's good marketing. Oh no, you got baby swoops ambushed.
Yay! Oh my god, she's so cute.
She is. So the ogre competition details are going to be thrown down tomorrow. I'm guessing it's going to be very similar to the competitions for the dark elf and the Karen, except the
Mm.
difference is that you do not submit a template; you submit by claim.
Much
What
better.
I don't know how that's going to work if you're making a build on your alt because your 3x3 is already being submitted. So that should be kind of an
Mm.
interesting consideration to have to deal with for the really prolific builders out there. But assuming that a 3x3 is even being accepted, I think there's still going to be the similar sorts of stuff we've seen in the other one: a bridge that's 1.5 claims wide, residents that can fit 3 to 5 wide in a claim, stuff like that. The things that we've seen in the previous ones is probably going to be very
Yeah.
similar sort of stuff. So the advice I'd been giving people kind of going back, starting with the contest, just look at what they did in the other contests and build towards those if you're planning to submit for it. That definitely still holds true, but the one difference now, they've said you really, really want to actually have the what's it called, the template built into the terrain. Don't have them being a separate sort of thing. Do it as it's actually intended to be seen, so that they can really take it in and potentially create a space for that segment of procedural terrain to be kind of
Yeah.
cut and pasted with it and put elsewhere in the world. So that's
Well, I
really
think
cool.
also, if I can throw in here for a second,
Go
and I
ahead.
was thinking about this while they were talking about it, was I think the idea is too, there were more than a number of builders I saw complain or realize after the fact that the template they submitted was missing half of the building, or they screwed something up in their copy and pasting. Or we've seen before where your template is perfect, you save it, and then you go to drop it in a different spot in the world, and you get strange artifacting on things. Things like, like odd things will happen. I think
Oh,
doing
I
it this
know.
way will make it so everyone is seeing what the builder intended from the get-go without any ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I think it's just great idea all around.
For sure.
Yeah, that was my thought exactly. I agree with all of that.
So I'm not actually getting anything in for any of the current contests. I might get some of the stuff in for the team ups. Because
Ooh.
you're able to do like an eighth of a claim. So that's actually pretty easy to bang out something high detail, really cool that tells a small piece of a story. That that's all people are going to get. It's just a small piece of a story. Whether there's more of
Yeah.
that story later, who knows? You could build a story around it with your own claim and then reference this thing that you've got somewhere under the world. Could be a cool sort of thing to do. Uh, so, I mean, anybody out there, if you're a builder and you want to get some stuff in, I don't know if there's necessarily a prize for it, but there's most definitely the honor of participating and knowing something that you made is going to be going, deep under the world, and some poor person is going to get ganked by mobs down there in it. So,
Well,
it's
I'm sure there'll be a plaque or something and that'll show off you did this, just like they've been doing with the landmarks and landmark, and like they say they're going to do with EverQuest next.
I really hope they do, so that way you can actually send a message back. Hey, dude, I'm totally in your dungeon. Wah!
I'm going to be very interested to see what the long-term longevity is for people who are super invested right now. It'll just be interesting to see if 2 years after EverQuest Next is out, did the guy who built Antonia's Cathedral, is he still playing the game, or have they moved on to the new hot thing that came out just yesterday? I mean, it'll be.
Well,
I'm
who do you
just
think
curious to
is
see
more
what
likely to
happens.
keep playing? Who do you think is more
I mean,
likely
I
to
don't.
keep
I'm
playing?
not.
The guy who played a year ago or a year from now?
Yeah.
Who
Yeah. I mean, you
started?
don't know. I mean, that depends. Depends on what people's attention is. How many people have I seen get into? I mean, it happened to me in a lot of ways. With when I was in closed beta for Star Wars: The Old Republic, loved the game, played through it to the point where I think the cap was 50. I got as high as like 45 during closed beta. Intentionally would pick classes that I didn't want to play in live, so I had something new to see. And I still hit the wall 6 months into the game. And that was a game I used to do a podcast for. It was a very popular podcast. I had an audience that was waiting for that. And I just hit the wall and was like, I can't really keep bothering to log in. And you know what I mean? It happens. It happens to the most enthusiastic of fans, and it happens all the time.
Hmm.
So I'm not singling anybody out. I don't have any particular players in mind. It'll just be interesting to see, if the same players who get mentioned all the time now are the same people playing the game, 3 years, 4 years from now.
It pretty much for me is if the any of the challenges that come in for harvesting, collecting materials, and doing things in the world with the presence of mobs and the depth and everything being in place, anybody who doesn't leave because of that, because it becomes too much of an inconvenience for them, will probably be playing years down the road. As for somebody who was playing 1 year ago from now, they were probably working on the project, Krem, so I don't know about that.
Well, you know what I'm
I know, I'm
saying.
just teasing you.
9 months.
Yeah.
Because, there are a lot of players who will get heavily invested once the game is out officially. They're not into being involved in the beta. I know plenty of folks like that. I know plenty of folks right now that are saying they're never going to give Landmark a chance. They played it for like an hour one night. They're like, oh, it's a building game. I don't care about building games. But hit me up when EverQuest Next comes out. And you never
A lot
know.
of
They
it-
may get into Next.
Yeah.
They may get into Next, play for 2 years, and then suddenly go, maybe I will play with these building things. It happens all the time in games. A play style you didn't think you were going to like you end up trying when you're bored one night, and you're like, hey, this is kind of cool. So I'm sure there's going to be plenty of very dedicated players who are going to deep dive in once the game is out in its full form, or in its launch form, as opposed to being involved in a beta project.
I'm more wondering what's
For
going
me,
to
the
happen
only-
to Planet Side 2. When we get some more of the sci-fi stuff and some more of the combat and potentially vehicles, Planet Side 2 community, they have lasers and destructible terrain? Fuck, what am I doing here? I'm going to go on a landmark!
Planet Side 3.
What are you going to say, Kremchek?
There you go. Oh, for me, the only time I ever kind of get burned out from Landmark is when I lose a claim. I'll be going strong. I'll be building something forever. I lose my claim, and I'm like, well, forget this. I'm done for a month. Come back a month later, and I go strong again. But each time I lose a claim, it's like, all right, this is over for a while.
And that's unfortunately counterproductive to the system they have, where the longer you keep your claim going, the more you can, reserve time on it. So, I'm up to a month on my claims now. I can, juice those things. If I really want it, I can actually build up all of the claim space that I want, or that I possibly can, fill it all the way to the brim, and then cut off the ones I don't want, and I'll have like a year or something of the places that I'm actually dealing with. Basically, be good.
Yeah.
It's nice. I remember, I think it was Baby Cannon that was telling me about that trick, that she had like 180 days on her one claim or something like that.
Wow.
Dang.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a pretty good trick. They were supposed to be fixing it. I don't know how much of a priority that is.
I don't know.
Doesn't
I don't
matter
know
if
if
it's
it's a
supposed to be,
fix. It's a good feature.
It's a good feature, and I talked to them about it, and apparently it was going to be fixed, but who knows, really. Maybe they decided they like it. It's possible.
Yeah.
I like it.
I think it's a good workaround because it means you can only have a certain amount of claims if you want to have the extra duration.
And
Yeah.
I think that it's kind of weird because it will probably work once it goes live. It'll probably work as intended because people will actually be filling worlds, hopefully. But
You're still doing the work, so.
Well, no. What I'm saying is that it doesn't make a difference. It doesn't make sense right now to even have this because I log into my island and there's like 4 claims on it total. It's like it doesn't matter if I have my claim there forever because no one's ever going to want to build there because I'm on the total northeast side of my claim. No one will ever even go there. So there's really no reason to have that kind of thing because, like I said, there's 3 to 4 people on my island. So I don't know if it makes a difference right now either way.
Yeah.
Hopefully in live it'll.
Yeah, well, once it goes open beta, everybody's just going to be piling in and building stuff everywhere. It's going to go back to the old days of castles and crap shacks where I can tour an island for 4 hours and like 3/4 of them are just crap shacks that aren't worth even going close to. At least now we've got the new LOD system, so I can see a crap shack a mile away.
True. Yeah, no, I mean, that's
I'll
a
just send
fine
you
balance.
screenshots of my
Like,
crap shack.
that's a fine balance between wanting enough people there to draw people to want to come and check out what you're doing, but not want people right on top of you wrecking your view. You know what I mean? I mean, that's always a fine juggling act. So we'll see what happens. But, there's going to be a lot of mouth breathers and great unwashed when this thing goes into open beta.
It's going to be an interesting experience. I'm
sure.
really interested in seeing what the international community is looking like as well. I
True.
would imagine not just English-speaking people, but really all around the world because it's been a multilingual game for a long, long time. The Minecrafters, everywhere are going to be coming in, and we're going to be seeing a lot of stuff in a lot of language we might not understand in the chat rooms all the time. But
It'll be a lot of talk German noobs.
But you know what? I'm fine with that. I'm really glad that we'll actually be getting a much larger audience and a lot more, diversity of cultures even.
Mm-hmm.
That's it's going to be a really good because
Yeah, I mean, you say that, but the reality is usually it's a bunch of 12-year-olds cursing in whatever their native language is, spamming the chat. Like when they mix international
Yeah, but they'll
communities, it
filter
can
out.
sometimes. Yeah, this is true. Whereas, ironically, when I played Star Wars Galaxies, everyone drink, it turned out that apparently somewhere along the way, they had decided that my server, Eclipse, was the unofficial EU server. So a bunch of the EU folks decided to roll there, and it was cool because I mean, I always like time wise, like who I was playing with, it all gelled up, and they were way more mature and patient than a lot of the Americans on the server, you know.
Yeah.
So I
Well,
definitely, I have a lot of international friends to this day because of playing in that game. Because of that, so yeah, we'll
that
see.
was actually why a lot of my buddies and a lot of the PlanetSide 1 outfits who went to World of Warcraft went to BlackRock server because that was
Ooh,
the unofficial Australia New Zealand server for people that wanted to play with the North American players. So we
mm,
had, pretty much all time zones covered. It was pretty awesome.
yeah,
You could always find a group. You could always find, some PvP action out in the world. Always a noob to gank that wasn't just a gold farmer. Um,
yeah.
and that was back before gold farmers were organized. I don't know if they like descend on you en masse now or anything if you try to attack them, but back when I was playing, they would just ignore you, just attack them, and they just keep on mining or trying to.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway,
Why would they go to a PvP server?
oh, PvP was so much fun in that
Oh,
game.
it's
No, why
no
would a gold
fun
farmer go to
to
a
be
PvP server? Is what I'm saying.
Oh, because you
because they may
can't.
not have known any
Yeah, there
better.
were no server transfers at that time, so the only way you could farm gold to sell on that server was to, brave the waters. So,
That's right. You would have to have actually. You got to do the dirty work on the server you're actually trying to hit. Yeah, that's a good point.
yep, and I think that actually made for differential server prices. But whatever, that's I wanted to say a word to reference the type of economics it is, but it sounded so bad I refrained. So, uh,
Aww.
yeah,
Do it.
I'll just say black market economics.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of want to touch back on since we talked about it a little bit, just going back through the details about the competition stuff. So we already said it was going to be claim based. Now the other reason why it's claim based is so you can actually players are going to be voting for it in game. Now stuff that's voted for, that doesn't mean it's going to be the stuff that's picked. That just means those things are going to get the devs' attention first. That they're going to rate it first, check it out first, maybe spend a little bit more time on it than some of the other stuff. But by and large, that doesn't mean they're going to eliminate builds that don't have any votes on them. They will get checked at some point. And the fact that they're
Mm.
actually in the world, that they don't have to spawn these things all out in the world everywhere, means that it's a lot easier for them. They don't have to spend a lot of the time and effort and resources testing everything out in some sort of isolated dev environment. They can just go check out the things in the world themselves. Now it comes with some other benefits. If you do this, if you put something in for the contest, that claim is locked when it's submitted, which means you can't modify it, but upkeep is waived for it. It will not work. You
Mhm.
won't have to worry about upkeep if all of your other stuff, as Terry said, gets foreclosed on. That will still remain. So,
And I love how Dave threw in there how you could use that to game the system to keep your property from
yeah,
expiring.
that's exact.
That was
I was
that's
just
kind of
thinking
funny.
that.
Exactly what I was thinking, but I think they made mention that once something has been decided on one way or another, that they finish, they waive they stop waiving the fee on it or whatever. It just goes back to being a normal claim. So what would
Yep.
basically happen is if you put a bunch of crap in that's obviously not part of the contest, it would just get kicked back to normal status pretty quickly.
I'm sure.
As soon
I'm
as
sure.
there's eyes on it. It's like, wait a minute, that's not an ogre build. Boink.
Boink.
So also take good screenshots. That means zoom into first person, or if you're doing it in third person, zoom all the way out and stand somewhere that you're not obvious or that you make things look more lively. But don't be just one obvious person in the middle of some stupid place. I've seen a lot of bad shots like that. Time of day, angle. If you've got something where if you want to have like the sun pouring through, definitely pick an area. Maybe even add a couple of trees. Make a claim in the distance and add some trees, so the light comes through, and you get the light beams kind of hitting your place instead of just the full brunt of the sun itself. A lot of cool stuff like that. Get a belt of the Zephyr, or ask somebody who does to help you out. or borrow theirs or something, I guess, because I think you have to be the one that takes the screenshot.
Mm-hmm.
But it's it's a shitty solution, but that's ultimately the best way, because you're not going to be able to, unless you can jigsaw some sort of claim configuration far enough away to get the right angle that you want to take a picture from. The claim flight will only get you so far, and generally when I take a picture of a place, I'm well outside the claim boundaries. But I know people love my screenshots. I take them every weekend on content and creations, and I know like half the time people say, "Whoa, that was a good screenshot." So,
Well, you have an eye for it. I mean, I'm surprised at how many people, like, it looks great from this angle, but they took it from another angle. Like, how do you not think about that? Like, are neurons missing in your brain? What is going on there?
it's just overthinking of things, really.
Sometimes, I mean, that's a good point. Sometimes it is that, but yeah, I have done that when I was trying to take pictures of my claim. I actually had dropped blocks so I could then stand on top of them and go into first person mode and have like this perfect upper angle of like the crafting outpost,
Yeah.
I've done stuff like that. And I would think people who are trying to submit for a contest, you're going to want to take those extra efforts,
You got it, Rudnell. I will totally review your crap shack. Just, you actually have to put in some effort, like you learned after watching however many episodes of reviews. Like what? We're up to like 40 episodes now, I think, of between capsules and crap shacks and content and creations. Capsules and crap shacks. Oh, the capsule shape, a standard primitive object in 3D modeling. Anyway, so that's about it on the competition changes. So, Christmas stuff.
Yes, lots of Christmas stuff this week.
So I definitely need to make a giant menorah and stick it like right next to Dave's claim. That's just what it's gonna have to be.
Do it.
Go
or
for it.
maybe I'll see if Frigo Porco will allow me to build that as an.
I also want to see
the,
a Festivus pole.
Festivus pole. Well, that one's actually very
That's
easy
just
to
a-
make.
Yeah.
I know.
Just a poll.
I know. And then we have the traditional airing of grievances.
Yep.
I'm just
And then doesn't it physical feat is how the night ends as well.
physical feats of strength.
I guess I'll have to arm wrestle you through the screen or something.
Well, if we hold up, you're right. It's up in the air whether or not I'm going to be on the West Coast before or after Christmas. I should know in a few days, but if I'm there before Festivus, we'll make it happen.
You got it. I guess I don't know if it's going to be arm wrestling so much as like whose carpal tunnel gives out first.
True. So yes, lots of holiday stuff in general. It looked like they were well, I mean, not a lot, but there was a lot of stuff. But what, they showed the Christmas tree. What else did they show?
Yeah,
well, you had apple
okay.
pie. You had pies that could be used for holiday stuff.
Four types of pies. We had the lettuce top pies, by the way. I prefer crumb pies myself, but
Yeah,
Crumb
I'm
pies?
more of a fan of crumb pies.
I'm like
yeah.
honestly, I'm like crumb pie, flaky crust,
Pie?
and lettuce in that order.
Yeah, man.
I just want
yeah.
pot, and everything else is irrelevant.
No, this is, Skylatron makes a good point. Let's just, I'm in for the pie, and everything else is just detail.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. Yep. So there's the I called it the plastic Christmas tree prop because
Yeah.
they did this one particularly for two reasons. One, you can scale it down this big, and the other is that it doesn't move, it doesn't blow around in the wind, so that way when you put decorations on it, they stay in place and there's no issue. However,
I'm excited to see people's decorations.
it is also not snowed on already like the previous trees you would use for it, so you can actually do a custom voxel snow if you want to and further accentuate it. So there's actually a lot of stuff people can do to really dress up and decorate those trees if they want to. But because they don't move and because of the specific look of them, I thought they looked like plastic, so I wrote in the notes. Plastic Christmas tree prop.
That's okay.
I don't know if you'll be able to search for it by plastic Christmas tree. I think it's to be called Christmas tree, but that is one of the
Probably.
things that's going to be coming, and I'll talk about that once we go through the rest of the prop list here. So some ogre stuff. The ogre round dining table, the one with those big metal brackets on them. We're getting that.
Mhm.
We're getting a kick-ass lamppost that it looks like it's just gouting flames like butane or something. It's totally
Yeah.
awesome. And I can see a lot of people, once they eventually give us the ability to separate the particle effects from the props, that's a flame that I'm sure a lot of people will work with, because it starts kind of blue towards the bottom and then orangey towards the top. So it has a lot of detail to it. Honestly, it's a really
Pretty cool.
nice effect, and that's using more of that that updated particle system that they started going with. I think around Halloween with those props is when they first put it in. So it looks a lot better than the stuff before October. The chandelier, they've got a kick-ass chandelier. The punishment chair, that chair with the spiky rivets on the sides, they're finally putting that in. The iron, they're giving us iron and brass chains to complement, I guess, the steel chains that we have.
Yes, they look really good though.
Yeah, they do. So that's really awesome, and that definitely complements the ogre style. And they also said I don't know if they made a different version or if they actually repainted horn and the stone table to fit more of the ogre style. I hope that they're different versions of them, because I could see that horn being used in the Karen stuff, that they wouldn't necessarily want the more worn down version of it. Or likewise, that stone table I could actually see being used in Dark Elf builds, or anybody that's just using it as an accent piece, like the wheel of some sort of voxel prop tank that they made or something. That it would look a little bit weird with the color change. So I definitely hope that they have two different versions there, and if not, it's just a simple request on the Reddit prop thing to say, hey, give us this one back, please. Uh, Kitchen props. Various pots and lids and pans and lids and more pots and handled pots and toasters with bread and a microwave. Modern
Yeah,
things.
I made a little face at the toaster and the microwave. I had to back up and go, it's landmark. Like, you didn't cringe at sci-fi stuff, can't cringe at a microwave.
Yeah, no,
No,
microwave
this
makes
is
sense
true.
to me. I like
And
it.
I've seen plenty of very nice modern builds, like modern house builds that, microwave would be very welcome in there. So, a little bit of everything for everybody.
Well, microwave also means you can make a, if you scale it up and just conveniently crop parts of it with voxels, you could make it look like some sort of a screen that then some creature is coming out of. I think of like Come to Daddy from Aphex Twin, that creepy ass video. That that sort of thing you could do, or various other things where you could use different parts of it in different ways. It's not just the fact that it's a microwave; it's all the different the angles and stuff that you can do with it, and the fact that it's a prop rather than voxels, so you have a lot more opportunities to do different stuff with it. Maybe the bottom of it looks really cool, and you just line the floor of something with the undersides of microwaves. Who knows? We'll have to see it when we see
It's
it.
true, we do weird things with props, so.
Yes, we do. So I can't really rag on any prop they're gonna give us. If they're gonna give it to us, I'll take it. I love props. It was getting to the point where it's getting hard to organize them, but I think we've gotten through the list, so we can talk about the big news about props. The menu, the searchable menu, that you can actually. There's a search bar where you can type in keywords and names of stuff and actually find the props that way.
Very, very useful. Lord knows it's been overdue.
Yeah, it was overdue, and then they added more stuff and more stuff and more stuff. So it's been long overdue. But now,
Yes,
now
very
we can
much.
actually find stuff when we're actually trying to use it. The real lubber. Lubber sexual. Okay.
As a lady, I love this.
So, this beard started in, what was it, 2010, 2011 as an unemployment beard. And then at some point I decided in my more radical communist days for a moment. No, this is going to be a solidarity beard for all the people that can't grow a beard or that have like the mystery spot so they just don't try and stuff like that.
Oh, you mean this one?
This is a beard for the masses here.
Thanks, Nero. I appreciate.
Exactly. My brother has a mystery spot there, and so kind of for him too. What the mystery spot? It's where the mustache doesn't connect to the beard.
Wrong. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the mustache doesn't connect here, and then like this part doesn't connect with this part, and
Yeah, there's
spots right there and right there and right there.
Beautiful.
And right there.
Lovely
There you
Skylatron.
go.
So, yeah.
That is nice, actually.
Searching
I like
for props. 1% chance to win a bank heist? Maybe for you. Apparently you suck at it.
I'm 0 for 5 today, by the way.
Oh, man. Okay. So, they talked a little bit about some bug fixes. The claim placement failure is going to have better feedback so you know why it failed. Something about barbed armor not getting triggered by falling damage. A couple other things. I don't know. I didn't really pay too much attention to that. Did either of you catch the rest of the bug fixes?
Mm-mm.
I'm sure it's going to be in the
yeah.
notes, so...
Either of the three of us.
Yeah. Did I say two
Well, I
of
had
you?
two. Well,
said
while
either
I
of
was
you.
watching, while I was watching this, I have two nephews. I'm staying at my sister's house right now, and I have two nephews who are currently in the middle of the show. Like, Uncle Adam, look over here, look at this thing, do this thing with me. And I'm trying to watch this and entertain them at the same time, and I may have missed the whole bug fix section of the show this evening.
That's totally
Weird.
fine.
What's that like?
Oh, cram. So, the
Crazy
15th, they've pushed back the update next week to the 15th. That's a
Mhm.
Monday. Now, there's a lot of stuff coming in. I can't fault them for pushing this one back. I'm surprised that they're even getting it in now because it's so much stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yes, they're definitely trying to. Feels like they are trying to cram in a whole bunch of like shit. We said we were going to have X, Y, and Z available before
months ago.
the end of the year, and it's like now it's like, well, it may all be broken, but here you go.
All right.
We got it in.
So
Yeah, we got it in. Now we got to fix it.
yeah. So I mean, first of all,
But that'll happen January 6th when we get back.
no. Well, when they get back, we're still gonna be here. Now that's the thing. Like
Yeah. when they
part
get
of what
back,
part
that's
of
what
it
I'm
is that they're trying to get the stuff in so we can enjoy all of these features over the break. But also we're gonna be breaking the hell out of it. When they come back, there's gonna be intense bug reports and stuff about everything. More data than they're gonna want to deal with, and then
Yeah.
eventually it'll start getting fixed. They might still have some more features to add going into January, but I think finalizing any last features like well, I'll go through the list here and we'll kind of talk about just what's going to go in this time. And I can see some things could potentially slide because some of the stuff that's not going in on the 15th might even have to get pushed back a little, and this and that and whatever. It happens. So mobs and pathing, that's big time. That's huge. That's some NASA, lunar pathfinder shit right there. The caves going all the way to tier 5, all the way to full depth. So what that means is you won't have tier 1 through 4 islands. There is no more tier to islands. You will not have to go to any other island to find the material, the stones basically, the gemstones, the I guess there used to be the rare metal. I don't know if they'll have that delineation anymore. All of that stuff, and I'm sure ancient dirt you'll be able to find on any island. However, the things that are harvested with a sickle, and I would assume an axe as well, you still have to go to the representative biomes. So there's still going to be something to encourage you to go across the surface, even if you're tough enough to brave the depths all the way to the bottom. And that's actually, it's a really good thing, because that means you're going to have to travel around. Or if you absolutely refuse to travel around for role-playing purposes, then you have to engage and trade with people who do travel around. But that's silly. Who would role-play that? Even Diggs would call
No,
that person a jerk, I think.
I'm sure there's that guy out there somewhere. Trust me, I'm sure.
I think it's
Matter
more
of
the
fact,
person.
that guy's probably watching the show right
That
now.
guy's
I'm
probably
gonna watch
watching
the
the
chat
show
room and
right
see what happens. Hang on.
So along with the depth going all the way down, that means the ley lines finally have to be fully established and go all the way
Yeah.
through. Now, I've been trying to get Darren McPherson, and I keep on, I guess I got to keep on poking him about it. I have to get him to try out the game Korea. I've been trying to get him to try it for a while. It has actually, it's like the 2D version of Landmark and EverQuest Next, including the ley line system. In that game, you actually have to find the crystals and be able to teleport back and forth to them.
Mm-hmm.
But they're spread all throughout the world, surface and all depths. And that was your fast travel system. And we're getting basically something very similar. I don't think we're going to have to locate the actual ley line crystals in the levels of depth. That would be kind of ridiculous. That would be a lot of work. I guess maybe that would be an interesting
Isn't
thing.
that the point?
No, I don't think you actually have to discover. I think the idea is that they want you to just be able to start at the level of depth that you want to, be at, and then go down from there. Of course, there's also a fee associated with the transporting with the ley line, so I'm sure it'll cost more to go into the depth than just going island to island or across the island somewhere.
Hmm.
Kind of like Diablo style waypoints, kind of maybe, not really.
Think of them as they're just an extension of what the hub is already, and it's just going to travel out and down through the world. So it's like like the public transportation in an MMO. It has stops along the way. That's what the ley lines will be. Basically, they'll be the stops along the public transportation system.
Yeah, I feel like they did mention that you have to discover them. They said as you work your way through the world. Maybe it was worded ambiguously on purpose.
I thought so too. That's what I thought.
Maybe that's it.
I felt like you had to find the ley lines themselves, or
Yeah, I
be physical.
feel like you have to discover them, but if
seems
we
seems
all
right.
heard something different, then maybe that was intentional. I don't know.
No, well, I think both Krem and I are saying no. We agree with you. I think I heard them saying we would
No, I
have to discover
disagree.
them.
No.
Oh, you okay? All right.
I both agree and disagree with all of you.
No, you don't, Kremchek.
Just kidding.
So we're
As
also
everyone mutes their mic to silently cuss at me.
We're also going to be getting graveyards. Graveyards. So when you die, you don't teleport to the hub. Because that sucks.
Does that mean we're doing corpse runs?
I don't know if we're doing corpse runs because I don't know that you spawn as a ghost at the graveyard and run back to your body. There might be a variety of options, but I think mostly they mean for the death system to have consequence, but they don't mean it to be like,
Boy, I have been
game
hearing
ending.
the death system needs to have consequence since the first day I ever started playing an MMO. So this is nothing new. I understand that death needs to have consequence, but I fucking hate corpse runs. And if you fall and die and you're sent to a graveyard, why? It's it's like half of a death mechanic.
Where should you be sent, though?
Well, that's just it. Should you be sent? I mean,
Yeah, I don't.
that's a good
How do you
point.
respond then?
I believe in death consequences, so I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know, but is this the game that needs death consequence unless you're killed by a
Oh,
mob?
this game? Man, maybe not.
Yeah, yeah.
This game, I don't.
I'd
The
rather
Secret
have.
World, EverQuest, any other game, sure, yeah. Death, you need to have that. That's part of the learning process sometimes. It's the game's way of saying, slow down, fucko, your strategy's wrong. Or you're under geared. But in this game, I'm just not sure, a death penalty is absolutely needed. But,
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
know.
here's what I think they should do is make it a mini game sort of thing. If you die, you have 10 different games you can play with death, and if you lose all of them, then you have the graveyard option. So you can play
Oh, that would
dice
be
with
funny
death,
if you like.
play roulette, you play
That
pachinko
would
with
be
death.
funny. Like literally, there's the Grim Reaper with the
Tic-tac-toe.
sickle.
Yep,
Gonna play
exactly.
checkers with you.
Yeah,
That would be kind
I
of
would
fun.
love to do that. I would love to have that as an option. Just some real
would be
quick
kind of
games and
fun.
stuff. So if you don't want to lose your progress, it's like, well, fuck, I gotta get really good at
If you
tic-tac-toe.
win the games, if you win the random game against death, you get put back in the world at half health.
Yeah,
And if you
something like
lose the
that.
game with death, like you hit XP debt and you got to go to the graveyard.
I
Yeah.
don't know if there's gonna be. I think it would just be that if you lose a game against death, or you lose like 3 out of the
So-
10 games or something, it's like, all right,
Yep.
you've had enough. Back to the graveyard. You're drunk. Also, I don't think that.
Didn't Bill and Ted play Battleship against death
Yes.
in the movies?
Yes,
Okay,
they did.
yes, thank you. You sank my battleship. All right, I'm done.
Okay, so. All right, so, getting some more systems, new weapons and armor and accessories, and that's totally awesome. Weapons in particular. Right now, we have 3 elements being represented. That is physical, ice, and fire, and that's cool. But that's like, that's not even Final Fantasy 1 at that point. So, we also don't even have any like direct healing abilities or like ally healing abilities of any sort. So I'm hoping that this is going to start leveraging a lot more systems, maybe even some more unique sort of stuff like stuff where it's a keyword specifically based on you taking falling damage or taking a specific element of damage. Then you do a special attack after you build up having taken that damage or something. Who knows? Like a rage system sort of thing. Dual shields, yes, D-man, that would be great. I block and then I block again. I block and I also block.
Hey, you could do major damage with the shield.
Yeah, actually you can. A bladed shield was my D&D character's almost more their primary weapon.
Yeah.
Healing, sci-fi stuff. I'm hoping we're gonna start getting that gunslinger. I know we keep on teasing Dave about it because he seems so interested in getting a hold of it. So maybe that'll be coming at some point. It's gonna be really nice, and I'm wondering if this is also gonna come with any variations with gloves and helmets, because I think that's the plan. That they're not just gonna be you put on the armor and that's your entire aesthetic, that you're going to be able to have a little bit more customization. But that might be something that skids for a little while, because that doesn't, that isn't adding functionality, that's just aesthetics.
I thought I heard that that
No,
was coming within the next couple patches.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And they talked about that, and again, because it's imperative to them that for people who drop money on outfits in the store, they're able to continue to wear those outfits and have them be seen. So they didn't really go into how they're going to do it, but I suspect it's going to be like all their other games. I've said this before. It'll just be a customization tab, or a checkbox like, do you want this to show or not? Yes, no.
Yeah, well, right now, if you just drop the full costume in the costume slot, that's what you look like, but there's no
Bingo.
piecemeal itemization for any of that stuff.
Not yet anyway, yeah. But they will have to by the time we're hitting open beta, they'll have that itemization worked out, right?
They've
So
got to.
yeah,
I
I would
hope so.
They have
expect that
to.
by open beta, we'll see that level of customization available.
Yeah, so they also talked about salvaging and something called refining coming after. So we all know what salvaging is. We had it for like a few fleeting weeks in alpha, and then they removed it, and then they said it'd be coming back, and then it's finally
didn't.
coming back.
Yay!
It's a Festivus miracle. So yeah, it'll be nice to actually be able to break down all of those old mithril picks that I made so long ago and get the materials back for them.
No kidding.
It'll
Tell me about
actually
it.
encourage people to. On one hand, it encourages people who want to min-max to actually start min-maxing. On the other hand, for people that just don't want a piece of shit item and want just a slightly better version that actually has some ability to it, they'll be able to break their stuff down and give it another try a lot easier. And if you find stuff in the caves, I think there's a lot of what the salvage system is really for. All the random treasure and crap that we're going to be finding in the caves, to break it down, to just salvage it for materials. If it's crap, it's crap. Just turn it into jute. Be done with it. I bet you would, Michael Flatley. I bet you would, sir. All right. The refining system, I can't remember if that was the one where you can potentially put... it was. I think there were 3 different systems they're talking about where you could boost the base stats of your item without putting the runes and stuff on it. So if there's a potential range of like 120 to 150 and you got 135, that you can push it all the way to 150 before putting on the other add-ons and stuff. I think that might be one of them. There's another one that was potentially changing out the enchantment on it, but I think that was imbuing. And I think the other thing refining might have been was being able to take a item with 4 upgrade slots and move it to 5 or 6 or whatever the maximum was. It could be something completely different. It could be something where refining is actually talking about making the elemental metals out of the base metals or something like that, and they're completely changing the item system altogether, which could be the case, but then what the hell happens to discovery? Was it good for at that point?
Yeah, maybe nothing. Maybe it goes away.
So they said salvaging. We kind of know what that is, and then they said refining shortly after. We could probably dive back through the blueprints and everything and find what they specifically described that as, but that could have changed, in many months. So hard to say, but get hype for it, I guess. So
There you go.
Vivox in-game voice chat. Holy shit!
Yep.
So that way I can, when I'm doing reviews of someone's place and I'm breaking it down, they say, "No, it's not finished yet. Fuck you, get out of here."
Yep.
That'll make for much
Pretty
more
much.
fun streams.
Hell yeah, well.
Absolutely.
PvP with
True.
area voice chat or whatever. That's going to be a lot of fun. Smack Talk is going to be a lot more of the PvP than just the battle itself. It's just trying to draw people to take you on one-on-one to then get ambushed by your whole team or stuff like that.
Will you really like being trash talked and killed by a bunch of 8-year-olds though every day?
Oh,
I don't think I'd be killed by a bunch of 8-year-olds. That's the thing.
I mean, you do it anyway, but would you like to hear their voice while they're doing it?
There's mute features. I mean, I find it really neat too.
I don't think they're playing Landmark.
This is a very good point.
That's true.
Skylatron's
That's
right.
They can't
Yeah.
afford a computer that's powerful.
Although,
enough for Landmark.
There you go.
That's a very good point. I am sure once the game gets into open beta and word gets around, I know a lot of Minecraft builders who may take a shine to this
possible.
once it's out.
It's possible, yeah.
'Cause it will be free.
Yeah, it'll be free, and we saw a lot of weird child prodigies in Minecraft. I don't know if the same thing's going to happen with Landmark, but we'll see.
Every
Sure it is.
sandbox game.
Well, I know there's a lot of adults that play with Minecraft too, but the majority of its base is kids, I believe,
Yeah.
Yep. Well,
So the whole neighborhood's going to hell.
yeah, we'll just so long as
Get off my lawn.
Yeah.
what was that one guy?
I was playing Landmark back when.
It was Inspector Smoog. That was the guy that built that giant cock and balls back in Alpha that I accidentally teleported back to when I got spit out from being underneath the world. That yeah, that sort of stuff actually is definitely not going to fly if there's going to be a lot more kids coming through. They're probably going to have to actively monitor and crack down. And
ironically, it will be most of the kids who are trying to make the giant cock and balls, not the adults.
I just wonder if there's any reason or merit to some sort of an incentivized reporting system to help clean up all the dicks in the world.
Well, isn't that what they said they were going to do, where we were going to have the ability to report stuff, and they were going to gauge you based on how many, You know,
Well, that's how it
claim
works
the
with
sky
the
is falling. Yeah.
with the claim rating system, but I don't know if that's going to be the same with like general builds or content people are making in the world or non-build content. You can actually make some pretty nasty stuff just with a pulverizer and some flat terrain, just writing it in, and then someone opens it up on the map and they see this whatever it is drawn into the world. I can't remember who did that the other day and showed me, but that's some pretty creative trolling right there.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. Yeah. We'll see. It's always interesting when, again, you can force your aesthetic on somebody else. And that is what Landmark is all about. So it'll be interesting. It'll be entertaining to say the least as they scramble to try and adjust to whatever the player base comes up with.
Yeah, for sure. And Vivox, they're trying to get it on the 15th, but that one might get pushed back.
Yeah, I'm always a big fan of the in-game voice chat more so than out-of-game voice chat. Because I know most guilds already have their whatever Ventrilo or whatever site set up, but it is nice when it's in-game because it does give you the option of connecting with players you may not normally be guilded with.
And the Landmark community is really awesome.
Yeah.
So I think that being able to meet people like that will be pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. It's something where trying to get a bunch of people on TeamSpeak or Ventrilo or Skype or something together or Google Hangouts or something. It's a really difficult sort of thing, especially the temporal sort of nature of it. If you're just passing by and saying hello to someone for 5 minutes, to have to spend 5 minutes getting in the same channel and making sure your mic's working.
Okay, I've got it. Or they've even got the software installed. Yeah, I got the software installed. But how many times have we had to walk someone through? Okay, now go into your options on Skype and tell it which camera you wanted. Like, you know what I mean? People don't generally, not everybody who's playing a video game is computer or net savvy. And plenty of. I've had that happen. Where people are like, they want me to run as a medic. And, oh, by the way, download this and jump in, and here's all the information. I'm like, fuck, no, I don't want to deal with this. So, yeah, having it in-game is always nice to have,
The real Lobber history of the world right here. Dicks existed before flowers existed. No joke. Anyway, yeah.
I want to know what's on Skylar's mind right now.
That's some science right there, yeah.
I want to know what she's thinking.
Nothing.
Why did you just put this on Skyla all of a sudden?
Well,
Yeah.
did you see her face? And she was counting.
No. No, I'm not hyper studying the young lady. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that's what I was. Hang on. Skyla, what were you doing? Show me again.
I was doing absolutely nothing.
You
I
can
have
watch the
no
video
idea what
afterward.
to talk to. Yeah, pretty much later.
She was contemplating the history of Earth, of course. The different aeons going back, and when
Evolution,
reproduction
yeah, the whole
existed,
thing.
and
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff. I knew what you were going for there.
Krem.
So, linking and
Just wondering.
triggering. Linking and triggering.
She did. You did turn a nice shade of pinky red. This is true. You're almost matching your hair now. That's quite a trick. Holy shit! Wow, look at how red she got.
And the more he says that, the redder she gets.
So I got to say something, Gedra in chat there. You're correct. However, flowers are one of the last plants to actually evolve and come to surface in the world. There are a lot of things that actually, bugs and creatures and stuff that existed before flowers actually did. It's kind of cool. If you'd like to know more, no, I'm not going to give you that source. They will yak your ear off for days and days. But anyway, Skylar returning to a normal color. Anyway,
Yes, thank you.
linking and triggering. So as I was trying to say there for a moment.
That got Dave hooped almost and hollow. He was like, "Woo!" about the linking and triggering. So he's obviously
Yeah,
got
he's really
plans
stoked
for
about
that.
it.
Well, it's definitely going to make it's going to add a whole new level to the building design in the game. I think it's going to be interesting what you folks do with it.
Yeah, yep. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we've wanted to be able to do with it, and the closest we've been able to get is anything that's activated by either a moving platform smacking you out of the way, or starting on a launcher and having it take you through a series of launchers pointing at point B. Right now, I would say the most interactive build anybody has made probably Cool's Halloween Mansion. On top of that, I would say a large area of builds that have a lot of interaction together. Just the whole transport network between the whole sci-fi bay, starting at Boqueto Tower and just going all the way around from claim to claim to claim. That's totally awesome. But that's like the most simplest of stuff. That's that isn't even like opening a door and having the lights turn on. That's even that's going to be a nice feature for spooky houses and stuff, or functional houses. Why do I go to the spooky stuff first? Oh well, I guess I got to make everything kick ass. So yeah, that's a lot of stuff going in on the 15th. That is a shitload
Very
of
much.
systems.
And some of those things he was like, we're trying real hard to get all this in on the 15th, but it may slip till beginning of January. So don't be surprised. I mean, that's so much stuff they're trying to pack in there. I'm sure some of that won't make it for the 15th.
Or there will be follow-up patches very shortly after.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and that's why I don't think it'll be in the 15th, because it sounds like the building's going to be pretty empty come the 20th, until beginning of January. Like, everyone's going to be tapping up for the holidays.
I really thought earlier this year that we were going to be open beta by January.
Did you really?
Earlier this year, yeah. I mean, as it got later in the year, no, but I really thought that we were going to get there.
Yeah, no, I wasn't. I've this whole year I was like, yeah, we won't see. Even early on, like I've been saying, maybe first quarter of next year. Definitely see that happening. But
March.
yeah, maybe February, March by the time everything lines up. But I mean, that's kind of what it's just been. I've been in so many betas at this point that and seeing how they're not rushing things to meet a deadline this time around. So it was like, yeah, probably not. But yeah, they definitely they're overachieving right now. They're definitely trying to fit a miracle patch in before the end of the year, and I'm not sure it's all going to make it there.
Well,
Lord Jesus.
and then like Klug and Felgon are going to be like the two people left behind to do the bug fixes and stuff for the people that actually are going to be playing during the entire break there, and then they get to take off a couple of weeks, sometime in January. I bet that's probably how it's going to happen. Probably them two in particular, even. Like I would almost put money on it if there's if we want to get like a betting pool going or something. But we can handle that after the show. Because no, I'm. It's something they've had to do in the past. They've done it differently with different projects. I remember with PlanetSide 2, they did the have half the team take their break, have the other half the team take their break, and then try to get everyone back on the same page when everybody's all back. I don't know if it actually succeeded. It might have succeeded during the process, but getting everything all back on track, it felt like it took a long time for them to really get back clicking with everything, back in the swing of things. So I'm wondering if that's going to be their plan, or if they're going to really do just like, okay, skeleton crew, everybody else, 2 weeks.
Yeah, because next year they got a really big year ahead of them. Between Landmark, between H1Z1, between EverQuest Next. Because once Landmark's out, all eyes are going to turn to, so when's Landmark Alpha? And that's coming. I mean, when's EverQuest Next Alpha, I meant to say. That's coming. And there's a lot of folks waiting with bated breath for H1Z1 to have some sort of an announcement. I know that's coming soon, from what I understand. So
Soonish, yeah.
Soonish, yeah. It sounds like they're working out the details right now as to what they're going to offer.
Yeah.
So I don't, I know everyone's like, oh, there'll be patches every day. I don't know. I think that it will. They're going to play it on the safe side so that everyone can go enjoy the holidays. The real Lobber is saying that Kremchek is Ori, Adam is Oin, and Legendary is Nori. That's incorrect. I actually played Ori in a summer stock musical version of The Hobbit. So you got that trivia question wrong. I'm sorry, sir.
Oh, damn. And I actually played Chewbacca in the holiday Hanukkah little thing that the person running the school stuff wrote. So, yeah. Chewbacca. No joke. I was literally, yeah. It was hilarious.
Oh.
And all I had to do was stand around in a fur coat, go every now and then.
This is before you had that man beard face thing going on.
Yeah,
right?
I was like 10 when I did that.
I see Nero at 10 still having that beard going on.
Yeah, I wish.
He was
That would
born
have
with
been
it.
so awesome.
By the way, Lobber, thanks for making me the one that looks like he has Down syndrome.
Oh. Alright.
And real side quest, I think what they did with the dwarves for the Hobbit movie has been fantastic. Those character designs are so well done that you know at all times throughout all those movies exactly who you're looking at. You know, like I always was afraid that with that many dwarves involved in the caravan, you'd be watching those movies not knowing who was who. But they're all so uniquely different. So anyway, sidetrack. Just thought I'd say that.
Yeah, on Michael Flatley's comment, yeah, the MLK Jr. statue was actually made in China, the commemorative one that was done recently. So actually,
yeah.
you're not far off there,
Nice.
buddy.
Nice.
All right. Wow, we have gone way off the subject there.
Yep.
Holy shit.
We sure have.
Oh, well, it's a rant show.
Yep.
I can always hide by the name. Oh, no, it's a rant show. Don't blame us for going off track. We're hilarious.
We are hilarious.
Okay, so getting back in, they did a little demonstration. They talked about the new templates that we just got, the starter templates. So we get curves, we get arcs, we get columns, we get nice fonts, including the landmark font. I believe Metallica was credited for that, so that's amazing work. Back in like alpha, there was one swap meet where I saw a really nice, it looked like Arial font, like to the T, and I didn't grab it, and I regretted it, you know, for so long. Now we finally have a nice font to, you know, a bunch of nice fonts that we're just getting for free, just in our inventory.
Awesome.
Don't take
Yeah.
up any template space or anything. That gets a big fuck yeah.
Yeah, no, it's very cool. It's very cool. And it sounds like, you know, I know there was some concern about should people be able to put like billboards on their claims, you know, and I mean, if it's your space, it's your space. You should be able to do that. And I think it's cool, like them giving people these alphabets is them saying, yeah, go put your billboards up. You know, if you're a streamer, you want to promote your stream, you know, go for it.
Yeah, that's actually, and I that was something I used to do way back when Rebellion Dune. I had my giant sign and the gorilla head and the smoking Omid with the cigar and the smoke just billowing out of it.
Yep.
Yeah, fun stuff. That was actually also my first terraform. I actually built into the mountain there. Actually looked pretty cool inside of it. But enough about me. So we're gonna
Enough about me. You tell me about me.
We're also going to be getting the flat triangles, and that one's a big deal. Actually, having triangles that are, you know, one thickness but perfect angles all the way from 1 to 100 voxel size. That's big time. A lot of this is going to give a lot of people a lot more control over what they were doing before, and I'm really excited to see what the less the less voxel mansory builders start being able to do with it and start being able to work with it. I've always said from the get-go, you don't need voxelmancy to make cool looking stuff. You can make cool looking stuff with literally the line tool only. I've done it. It's neat. It's fun stuff. but it's the ability to make something that looks very specific. It's nice to be able to have the tools to do it. I can see a lot of people just grabbing these tools and making weird, disorienting tunnels where the space like kind of shifts and gets bigger and smaller, and when you walk through it, kind of feels like you're going through the something's organs or something. I don't know. Or something cool, or something gross. Uh, that's going to be really nice. I'm really excited to see what sort of stuff we're going to be able to do with that. And I guess the one thing that I always feel weird about with it is the statement I had that, well, it's great that we're going to have things, but what about the circle line tool? That's like something that it seems like it's probably going to be at least another year before they actually get it in and have it working clean, where you can make a circle of a certain size, make another circle of a different size, put it somewhere, and actually have it extrude a line between them. That to do that as an actual thing in a build, that is a technical masterpiece to be able to achieve. That is some tough fucking shit right there. To make it look clean, that's someone's gonna spend like many countless nights, staying up, ripping their hair out, trying to complete that sort of thing. That's the tool I want, and it's not something that would come in the form of a template. Adding cone functionality to the line tool, hell yes, Sog. That is exactly what I want. Homogenize, no. Oh, calm. I don't even know. I don't even know. Okay. Actually, I do now. Shame on you. Then the reactor
would
demo.
actually be really interesting.
Yeah.
Sorry. The locks thing. I would love the ability to place templates on my hotbars. That's a pretty cool idea.
Oh, that would be
That would be cool,
fantastic.
yeah.
I would love that.
Yeah, especially if it's templates for something smaller you're using repeatedly. Yeah, that's a great idea, actually.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That's right, it is calm. But it's also a very dirty joke. Shame on you. Alright. The voxel reactor demo. That was quite interesting. Basically, a voxel reactor is take a 3x3 voxel cube, only keep the corners and the centerpiece. And what you're doing is manipulating the centerpiece by putting larger or smaller or deformed voxels in the corners around it. That causes it to pull the vectors towards wherever you paste, because when you add something, that takes priority. Everything tries to conform to that. The last change you try to make to the world is the thing that sticks. So that's how it's possible to be able to do a lot of this stuff.
That was so over my head.
When Dave starts talking about that, the Skylabot shuts down.
Gotcha.
Like,
Yeah.
Once he starts getting to his weird voxelmancy tutorials, I just go. Tick.
It's basically
Once I realized he was going to be
'cause I'm
doing
not-
that, I
I'm
just
not
went and
one
got
of
a
those great
sandwich.
builders. Yeah. I'm not a
Yeah.
great builder. I just go like,
Here-
hey, Dave's doing magic. Okay.
here's
Yep,
here's the easy
come back in a
version.
minute.
Here's the easy version.
Oh
of
no,
it.
here he goes. Here goes Nero. Here we go. Everybody ready?
You've got the voxel in the center. Okay. You put a larger voxel next to it, it gets smaller. Oh no! You put a smaller voxel next to it gets bigger in that direction. Hooray! That's it. That's all there is to know about it, and it's just manipulating it based on that.
Cool. It was. I mean, it was amazing how easy it was. So.
And actually, I'd never really looked into it before. Seeing that demonstration, I understand perfectly how it exists. I doubt I would have used it for anything, but I understand how it exists and how it works.
Yeah, I just walked away. There was no way I was going to... Nope.
Nope. Aw.
It was like,
from the
I don't know if
shower
anybody
now.
else... I don't know if anybody else saw it, but when Mini Shock was talking about last night was talking about redstone or something in Minecraft, how like making a computer in Minecraft or something, I was just like, All right, I'm gonna
That's what I
leave,
was
or my
saying
face
about
is gonna
freaking
fall off.
kid geniuses. Like,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
genius children, like, manifest themselves in Minecraft, and it is ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like a power in out sort of system. I know Edge of Space actually implemented that their first iteration of it like a couple years ago, and apparently it was so cool that Starbound kind of modeled their system after it. So it exists in the 2D sandboxes as well. It's a really interesting sort of thing, and I definitely do want to experiment with it more at some point, but I just don't have the time to learn electrical engineering. I need to though. That stuff's awesome.
I don't have the time to learn electrical engineering. That was an awesome statement. I really liked it.
Well, thank you. So, a couple more things that they showed us. So, if you want straight lines on a sphere, say you're doing like decorated eggs for that decorated egg holiday. So, you make your sphere, you paint the line on it, it's all jagged, then you do what's called the skeleton key technique, where you make a flat line where you paste the the flat side in the middle where you want to be flattening out, and then you have the other end of it also on the same side, also flat, so it's zero height for the line, which means it's not actually going to put any voxels down. But what it does is it aligns, because it's the last paste that you did, the last action that you added to the world, it's going to align all of the voxels on that band on the side that you did the line, the zero thickness line on, and it will straighten them out. So you just do that on the top and you do it on the bottom, and it lines it up. In fact, it also lines up the voxels on the inside and squares them up to a grid as best as possible too. So if you want that for whatever reason, it's pretty neat. All right. Was there any other technique? I think. Oh, and they were showing off the flat panel. I'm not going to get into. That's more stuff to do with the voxel reactor. If you're really interested in the flat panel technique, just check it out.
You have a note in here, Q&A. They talked about all the metals and crystals will be on islands, but sickle and axe will require traveling between islands to different biomes.
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier with the ley lines and stuff. That,
Okay.
And the tiers of depth. So just real quick, it's that you'll be able to find all of the metals and all of the gemstones on every island. Every island will have tier 1 through tier 5. However, they won't have every biome. So if you need stuff in the tundra, you have to go to the tundra. If you need stuff from the the tropical forest, you have to go to the tropical forest. If you need stuff from the desert, you have to go to the desert. And if they're not on the island you're on, you have to go to a different island. That's just what it is. It's
gotcha.
Gotcha. It's nice. I've been really excited to actually have exploration be a meaningful thing, to not just go for a specific resource or just some random cave diving with Kremchek or something, but to actually, okay, we're starting a 2-hour cave campaign. We're gonna, see how far we can go, try to keep the crew together, and see what we come across, what kind of loot, what kind of mobs, what kind of ruins that people have built, and the any rewards that might be associated with visiting them, any patterns, any templates we can find in chests, potentially recipes or potentially items that you're not going to be able to craft at the Spire, like there might be some new weapons or armor or something like that that you can't actually just make. So there's actually going to be a lot more reason to grab a posse and go delving deep into the caves and just keep on going, and just try it out and have a blast.
So excited for that. So excited for that to finally come around.
And then when we have lasers, it'll really feel right.
Lasers.
Lasers.
I forgot the air quotes. Lasers.
Yes. We have sci-fi weaponry and all sorts of gadgets and gizmos and stuff to be all awesome down there, instead of just swinging some sword and being, "Oh, I am swinging a wedge of metal at thee." Oh, you like that, Krem? So
That's actually what I do when I sword fight. That's how I talk.
I know.
That's where he got
Every
that from.
time. Every time.
Yeah, of course. That's where he got that from. He's watched me sword fight.
So that's pretty much it for the notes I have for this week. We can definitely, is there anything the three of you in particular would like to talk about, discuss, bring up, mention, complain about, ask about?
I want to point out my feelings are hurt. Skylatron doesn't follow me on Twitter.
Oh,
I
damn.
I that's okay. I just realized I don't follow her either on Twitter.
You
I
false.
think you're at least on my list, my curated list of people who talk about Landmark. So at the very least, you're on that. I think.
Ooh, I'm special. No, actually, I just realized I thought I was following you, but I'm gonna fix that.
Well, I don't
Anyway.
like you either.
That's fine. That's fine.
Skylatron
Only other,
sends me dirty pictures.
only other person I've run into that knows how cool the secret world is.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Solidarity.
Exactly.
Yep.
I look forward to getting back to the game as soon as I can, get a new gaming rig. But first I have to find a place to live. We'll get to that in a minute. You don't even know half the drama.
No, but I understand the feels of having to find a place to live.
Well, I'm literally technically homeless right now and really going to be homeless in a couple of weeks. So getting on a plane and going to California and trying to reboot my life again. So we'll see
Where
how
are
that
you
goes.
going in California? We're just going off the list.
No, I know, yeah. You know what? We'll save that for after the show. It's
Yeah.
up in the
Okay,
air
we're
right
gonna-
now.
okay, we'll
I
talk.
may be
Yeah.
bouncing around
What
until
is
I
your
find somewhere to land
address?
permanent. Yes. No,
Yes.
really. Give me your social. No, it's definitely. I'm looking forward to it. I do continue to try and log into the game on my laptop. I am getting about 8 frames a second, but oh my god, the game does keep crashing every time I try and do something like teleport or move to a different. Like I tried to log in and follow Nero around last weekend for his Who's Your Majigger for your content and creations. Yeah. I couldn't even get as far as warping to you the first time. So I was like, fuck. My laptop's not really built for gaming. So it plays some things really well, though. But I haven't been able to play the way I've wanted to, and that and my personal schedule and all that. So it looks like by the time things settle down for me at the beginning of next year, and I'm able to get in front of a gaming computer again, the game will be ready for me. You know what I mean? We're close. We're so close to the end this week, and this week's update looks like it's going to be real juicy. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this all comes together. Has it been a year already?
Not yet.
Almost.
We started I think we could first play at the very end of January.
Yeah.
Which was earlier
Close.
than expected. So yeah, we're almost at a year.
Yeah. Actually, let's see. It was, I think, actually the second to last weekend in January, because I think I still ended up making it I did make it to the Global Game Jam this year. So it was definitely a weekend before or the weekend after the last weekend. It was a weekend after the last full weekend, so the last weekend.
What was?
The start of Alpha. It was like the 30th.
Did it start early?
It was like the 30th or the 31st
it
of
started
January,
early.
I think.
Like
Yeah, it was like
month
almost
early.
a month early, right? Yeah.
Yeah. They
I'm
surprised
thinking
everybody with
very
that.
late January it was.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to think like between 28 and 30.
Yeah, somewhere in there. I mean, it was the day after the Year of EverQuest event where people could actually log in.
Yeah.
So that was the Friday. That was the Friday before Super Bowl Sunday, and they couldn't get more servers spun up for the population because it was Super Bowl Sunday. Kremchek.
I know what I was doing
What
on
is
that
this?
Sunday.
What is this Super Bowl you speak of?
Some stoner thing, I
Some-
think.
So,
No, I would be
Something the
aware if
Seahawks
it was.
won.
I would know what the Super Bowl was if it was a stoner thing, and I've never heard this term Super Bowl.
it was something the
relation to
Seahawks won.
smoking
You wouldn't
pot.
know. It's fine.
No, I wouldn't.
Oh, y'all getting technical in chat there.
Anyway,
That was way more technical than I thought that would go.
Why did you think it wouldn't get that technical?
I don't know.
And we have another red Skyla sighting.
Wow, it is amazing. That is amazing how red you go so quickly.
It is.
Wow, and it comes through over the camera too. Like
Yeah, it
that's
does.
like you match your hair. It's amazing.
It's kind of
And
like
how
Zach
fast it goes away.
Galifianakis. Have you guys seen that? How like he can get so red so fast and then it just pale like all
Yeah.
the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's pretty awesome.
Believe me,
like
I have
that.
my share of being embarrassed, but I haven't been embarrassed a lot. So, all right. Well, here's the part, Nero, where you should throw to your guests and say, "What do you guys have to promote?" And then give them a few minutes to promote, so we're not rushing through that at the very last minute of the show.
Well, that's a good opportunity. That's good. I just kind
Nero,
of
do
put it
your
out
job.
there a second ago for anybody to ask questions. We did get the one question, so I
Yep.
kind of want to touch on
Okay.
that real quick. If you have
Yeah,
not
someone asking
tried
about
you should play-
Project Organ.
any opinion of the game, what I played of it, it seemed like a lot of fun, and there's a lot of stuff going into it, and I definitely plan to hit it up again at some point. But I got a lot of games to play and a lot going on, so it's one that it's on the radar, but I guess I have a lot of stuff that I still want to play. I've accumulated a lot of games
Yeah.
since SOE Live, something
Yeah, I'm
like
sure.
something to the tune of probably 150 or 200. So I
Wow.
kind of want to play a
Yeah.
few of them.
It's with the whole WGN thing. It's hard because we're playing different games every day, but there's games that we play that we just want to continue till the end, and it's just not possible sometimes.
and then there's games we play for 5 minutes and we want to move
And
on.
we're done.
Yep.
And we're done. Yep. No,
That's just how it
moving
is.
on.
you usually tell, right? You can
Yeah.
usually tell in the first few minutes if it's going to be worth it or not.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
actually, since you already got it started, oh no, Skyla's cam. Krem,
I know.
since you got it started, why don't you just go on about what you do and all the stuff and where to find you, and you can definitely include Who's Gaming Now in those promotions.
Yeah, for sure. So I am one of the 3 streamers for Who's Gaming Now, which includes myself, Legendary Neurotoxin, and Nullbro. We do usually nightly-ish or daily-ish, whatever, a couple daily sometimes, shows of Who's Gaming Now on the Who's Gaming Now channel, which is twitch.tv/Who's Gaming Now, and that's really awesome. And we do a bunch of giveaways, and that's pretty cool. Other than that, I stream on my own. I'm a full-time streamer, do a bunch of different games, have a bunch of different giveaways going on. First is a ticket to SOE Live or PAX Prime if we get to a certain follower goal, which happens to be 200, and we're about 400 away at this point, and that is by Christmas. The other is a 100 viewer goal, and I'll just give away a free game of the raffle or winner's choice.
That, and you also seem very insistent on spamming Will Wheaton, trying to get him into your live streams.
I do. We make it a thing to where
Have you ever pulled it off? Has he ever shown
No,
up?
not
shown
yet.
up?
Not yet.
Okay.
We have a thing in my channel where usually nightly we try to get a celebrity, and lately it's been Will Wheaton that everybody wants to get in, so that's what we do.
Gotcha.
Someday.
For sure. And
Maybe
then-
we should tell him that we're promoting tabletop games. Then he'll come in.
That's a good idea, actually.
There you go. That might actually work, believe it or not.
Yeah,
I hear
for sure.
he's uber tabletop fan. So
Oh yeah.
You could
Oh,
play Ticket to Ride on PC, and then it would be thematically appropriate.
There you go. There you go. Whoops, my internet was wonking up there for a moment. So, Skylatron, why don't you let everybody know what you're up to, where they can find you, and what all you're working on?
Awesome. All right. So yeah, I'm Skylatron pretty much everywhere. Best found here or on Twitter. Sometimes I'll tweet things about games and something that is relevant, but most of the time it's a That's What She Said moment. So definitely important to follow me there.
It's a good follow.
It's great. I just started up a new podcast where we just talk about gaming and nerd culture and that sort of thing every other Tuesday. So follow me to know when that stuff happens. And that's pretty much my jam.
Very cool, very cool. Adam, then why don't you kind
Yeah.
of go through your stuff there?
Let's see. Things are getting a little crazy for me in the next over the next month. I'm going to try and be here, and for at least through Christmas, I think I should be okay. It may get a little wonky after Christmas, but in the interim, if you follow me on Twitter or head over to my personal website, at0mxii.net, adam12.net, just like the Twitter handle. That keep an eye on that. I just rebooted it and I'm getting ready to flip some things on. There's going to be a new podcast there where I actually just released to my Patreon page the third episode. That'll be going public, probably next week with a proper RSS and all of that. But you can, keep an eye out over there. That'll happen. My Patreon page could use some TLC. Listen, if you guys like what I do over here with Nero, please check out the YouTube channel. Please check out the podcast. You might like what we're doing over there. I am literally going to be homeless at the beginning of the year, and I may actually have to pay for a hotel for an entire month before I am able to go where I'm supposed to go. As I'm catching up and doing my homework on LA, I'm realizing I do not have anywhere near enough money to hold myself over the way I had hoped I had. So, if you like what I do, and again, I may not be LA proper, but it's still going to be expensive for Adam, even if I'm staying in a crack shack for a month. You know what I mean? I may have no choice on this. I may not be able to stay where I'm at, and I have friends who are offering me a place to crash, but it may not be happening until February. Blah blah blah. Believe me, not the way I wanted to do this, but it's happening. So anyway, if you like what you're doing, I have a Patreon page up. I have a lot of regular supporters there, but it hasn't grown in a while, and I could definitely use help for next month. So. It's the same as Twitter, at0mxii. Do a search over there, check it out. It's a voluntary contribution support thing. And even if you want to just do it for a month to throw $5 in and help, that's great. If you want to support the content as it's rolling out, that's great too. I hate to beg, but I'm really over a barrel and really starting to hit the panic button as I realize, holy fuck, I'm going to have to how long? And I'm going to do what? And, so any support is appreciated. And, check out the content. Check out the YouTube channel. I think moving forward, the audio podcast is really going to be the strong suit. Is going to be in that because that's easy enough for me to commit to, even if I'm in a hotel room. On Wi-Fi, I can still do an audio podcast without worrying about things. So, and it's the conversations we've been having so far have been really great. So I think some folks will really enjoy that when it comes out. So anyway, there you go. Check me out, Twitter, my internet. It's all there. Thank you.
I think Com wants to actually start a fund to pay to get you into a bed. So,
That
is that into a bed or into bed?
Goal. Either way, it's a bed, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Whatever pays the bills.
Keep a roof over Adam's house and Wi-Fi so you can continue to do Legend Live Feature Rant over the next couple of weeks. We'll see. I'm both terrified and excited, but we'll talk about that after the show. It's going to be crazy. And like I said, just family stuff came up. Mom and Dad had to take off real quick. Grandmother's not doing well, and myself and my brother, who were crashing at the family house, were given about 3 weeks' notice to get the fuck out and find somewhere to live. So I had a friend, an ex-friend, I should say, who was apparently a blackout drunk and decided to turn, when we had talked about it and he was no and yes and no and yes. And finally it was yes. And you can crash in the basement. It's cool. And I showed up with half my stuff. And then he's like, what are you doing here? I don't remember talking to you. And no, you can't stay here. And it's like, thank you. So it's been a crazy couple of weeks. I'll tell you that. So, I appreciate all the. That's actually, believe me, I just realized. Yeah, I may be starting the beginnings of a whole nother sequel to the. And that's the other thing. I have a book coming out in January. In amongst all this chaos, and Adam's going to the other side of the country, I have a book dropping. So, and I can guarantee a lot of folks are probably going to want to read the book when they see what it's about. So I can promise at the very least my train wreck that has been my life will make for an entertaining read, for sure.
Real lover, you getting some science going in your humor there? I see, I see. By the way, everybody, puns have been banned in China, so don't use them. Just bringing it up. So before I bring this party along, and there's definitely a place to bring this party along too, I want to just give a little bit of a quick rundown of what I'm up to. So as of last week, I started as the community manager at My Dream, which is a competitive product. It's another creative sandbox game, more of an indie sort of
Cool.
thing. It's really a neat project. It has a great skybox and really nice music, and there's actually a lot more to it than that. But those are the first two things you'll probably notice about it because they're really strikingly nice. Other than that, live feature rant, dead feature rant,
Yep.
Theory Forge on Friday, 5:30 to 7
And don't worry,
p.m.
I'm expecting Nero to give me a job any day now. Trust me. As soon as they're hiring more community people, I expect to be the
Aren't
first.
we
in line.
all?
Oh, I'm sure.
And then content and creations as well on Sundays, and the whatever broadcasts I do with Who's Gaming Now, which usually the ones I'd be involved with are the 8 to 10 Pacific time sorts of things. So if you see the show going, then I'm either hanging out or I'm the one that's hosting it. So definitely hang out for that stuff. And definitely hang out here with Landmark Explorer. That's where we're going to bring this party over to, the Morning Brew with Gaius and crew over at the Landmark Explorer channel. So I will see you all over there. Thank you all for coming. Kremchek, Skylatron, thank you both for coming. It was fantastic having the both of you. Adam, always good to have you. And that is a wrap. Later, everybody.
Skylar, lay on the ground now.
Not again.